Welcome to the Depot Sports Chat. I'm Drew Rubenstein. I'm with Ed Owens. We're at Mountaineer Field where West Virginia just upset number 11 Oklahoma State 30-21 in their Big 12 opener. Ed, what was most surprising about today's game in your mind?
I think most surprising was the defense, WVU's defense, and came out and just shut down an Oklahoma State offense that was ranked number 2 in the Big 12. They had obviously rolled through their first couple of games. They had a lot of weapons, and WVU really did a good job of taking all of them away from them for the most part. I think up front they got a good rush. They got a lot of pressure, and back in the secondary they didn't get exposed. I mean, a few breakdowns, but for the most part they did a pretty solid job.
Absolutely, and coming off of a 37-0 loss at Maryland, I don't think anybody expected this. Yet when you hear the coaches and the players talking, it sounded like they didn't really come away as startled and frightened as a lot of the fans last week.
No, they said mentality was a huge part of this week. Dana said in his press conference, all the guys echoed it when they were out today, and that they never gave up on themselves. They talked a lot about that, and that it was just one game. It wasn't going to define their season, that they were going to be able to put it behind them. I think they showed that they were able to do that today.
And then you look on the offensive side for West Virginia, 30 points, 7 of those come off of Ishmael Banks' interception return for a touchdown. That said, Clint Trickett fills in the starting role for an injured Ford Childress. Throws for over 300 yards, but how would you rate his performance today?
He did a serviceable job. He did a lot of things well. He didn't do anything great. He had a couple interceptions that he'd probably like to have back. But he came in on short notice. He did exactly what they needed from him, which was to kind of manage that game and minimize or limit mistakes as WVU held on to the lead down the stretch.
How did you think communication-wise, just running the offense, things moving forward, that if Clint's the guy, a lot of things to improve there?
Yeah, Clint said it himself. Dana said it himself. Communication was an issue. They have a few headsets that can testify to that. Dana got a little frustrated and spiked a couple of those during the game. And you'd expect it. It's Clint's first start. He really hadn't been playing because of communication issues. Dana always said that was the reason that they were kind of holding him back. And they showed up today. They struggled at times getting it called, and both of them said it. They both said that it's something they really want to work on going forward, and I think they're both confident that they'll be able to iron that out.
What do you think we learned about this WVU team to come back the way they did in the second half? The defense has a goal line stand. As you mentioned earlier, the offense did just enough to win, but they had to make a lot of plays to beat a team that on paper should have blown them away. So what do we learn just over the course of 7 days what West Virginia's done?
Mentality. I mean, I think forget the X's and O's and all that. I think that this team did show its toughness today. I think they showed a lot of heart. They were able to block out all the naysayers. They didn't let themselves get down after the worst shutout in 3 decades of Mountaineer football. I mean, they really were able to focus on today's game and do what they needed to do to win. The defense, I think, is proving to be the backbone of this team. If the offense can do what it needs to do and limit those mistakes just enough to get by, I think they can win a few more games. I mean, I think they showed that they are not out of this thing by a long shot.
That was the last one I was going to ask. Did today prove just how far this West Virginia defense has come in 1 year?
Absolutely. I think anybody who saw last year's product would agree with that. They had a lot of shortcomings. It almost seemed like you didn't know where to begin with fixing last year's defense. Right now, you saw a few of the same mistakes. The plays they did get beat on were all big yardage plays, which is something they've always said they're trying to get rid of. Every defense is. But with the exception of a few broken coverages, defenses, it's night and day from what they were looking like last year.
Absolutely. Thanks a lot, Ed. And the good news for West Virginia is now they get a trip to undefeated Baylor, who may actually be the best offense in the Big 12. Please continue to check thedpost.com for all the latest on the Mountaineers. Thanks for tuning in.